Alright, Beyond Light's been out for about a week now, and I just wanted to share some of my initial thoughts on everything that's happened. This kind of includes my thoughts on kind of the sunsetting of the content, the Destiny Content Vault DCV, I think that's what we're calling it, weapon sunsetting and all that fun stuff. I'm just going to run part of my old stream from last week in the background while I talk, just because I don't want to go in and just play around just for this recording. I'm too lazy for that. I wanted to first start off with the story of Beyond Light, and I have to say it's probably one of the best stories. Taken King had a great story, don't get me wrong. Forsaken was a great story as well. Shadowkeep introduced a new, kind of a new chapter, us finally seeing the pyramids up close and whatnot, but I didn't think Shadowkeep was all that deep. It was important, but I don't think it was that deep. But I think Beyond Light has taken the lead with all of that. Just because, well, Taken King, we had the common enemy, we defeat him, we kind of learn more about the Hive and the origins, and a little bit more about the darkness. Forsaken, we were chasing these escapees, and was falling kind of corrupted by darkness. Not like Aramis was, but and just avenging Cade 6, which was just a very personal kind of story. But Beyond Light is just fantastic with its story. It's huge. It is definitely the new chapter that they were talking about. This is going to be a 3-year chapter with Beyond Light, Witch Queen, and Lightfall. The cutscenes, beautifully rendered. Just whoever's in charge of the cutscenes at Bungie just gets better and better every year. And the voice actors did a fantastic job just conveying the feelings and the emotions and just everything that's happening in the world. Another thing I loved was lore books. The lore books this time around are fantastic. They always have been. But they didn't feel like they were the meat of the lore. I feel like they were, additions. They were compliments to the lore around us. Just because in the story we have the Exo Stranger explaining her past, explaining kind of her world, and then you can use the lore book to kind of go more in depth with it. But the depth that she brings, just by talking to you in game, is probably more than enough for most players. It's only those who, like the lore masters, or those who love the lore a little bit more than normal, like myself, we go in and the lore books are just fantastic. They just pique our interest. But most people are very satisfied by just the in-game cutscenes and the dialogue and the messages, which I think is great. And I think that's how stories should be taught. It's definitely a lot better than Destiny 1. And the Destiny 1 Grimoire cards were amazing. My last point about the story is kind of our ghost's reaction to Stasis. I thought he'd be a little more against it than he was. But I do love how they kind of add in that back and forth with him. It's like his loyalty to you is actually much greater than his loyalty to the Traveler. I love just kind of that character growth that the Ghost has while we go through it. It's not big, it's definitely not the focus of the story, but that's just something I wanted to focus on, was our Ghost, because I know how important that would be. So I'm excited to see the future. I'm excited to see how Darkness plays into our roles, how the Vanguard is completely opposed to it, because of all it telling you not to wield Stasis anymore, as the Vanguard's official position. Obviously, no one has taken Stasis off their subclass for quite some time now, even after that statement. But speaking of Stasis, let's talk about that real quick. Stasis. I don't know about you, but I feel like Bungie had a fantastic time making this subclass. I wholeheartedly believe most of the content that they made went into Stasis. And I'm sure there's like actual statistics about that, or people saying that. It is just nasty. Stasis is such a good subclass. You'll be seeing in the background. It is just perfect ad clearing. Some combos make it the best boss killers. It's just almost unstoppable. Now, I haven't played PvP with it. I've heard it's a nightmare in PvP, but people are starting to find ways to counter it. I'm sure it's going to get balanced at some point. It's going to. It's no doubt about it. But I'm enjoying it every second I can right now. It's really hard to think of them making a whole new element type, especially with something as ingrained into us, such as Void, Arc, and Solar. But with Stasis here, and then even like Poison or Corruption or whatever is coming around, a lot rumors about that. In fact, we all thought Corruption would be the first Darkness subclass, but at least we have one more that we know of coming up. So yeah, Stasis, fantastic. They did a beautiful job with that. The aspects, the fragments. I think that's a good way to keep it balanced. A little easier on the sandbox scene for sure. Next I want to talk about is the New Light 2.0. I decided to do that, do the New Light experience as a kind of a grinding method, just to kind of bump up my light level before we finish the campaign. And it was great. Last year when I went through New Light, it was nostalgic. You know, you just play the first mission, there you go. And I'm like, okay, cool. It was cool playing that first mission again, seeing Kavasa return, all the old gear. But this time around, New Light was, you pretty much complete the whole Cosmodrome experience before New Light is done. And even then, you still gotta do a few more steps. But it was very friendly. It was just, like if you are a solo player and you go into New Light, you probably won't have too much of a question as to what's going on. So that's really good to see, and I think they might keep that New Light around for a while, just because of how well it is. Maybe adds more like, different dialogues or something, depending on what the story is around us. But that's up to them. I can see them just leaving it alone, because it is perfect the way it is. Alright. We're getting to sunsetting and new weapons. I actually did watch Azzacross's and Dado's reactions, kind of their thoughts on Beyond Light, just so I have an idea of like topics I should cover, opinions I should share. And apparently, a lot of critics were hating Beyond Light, and I think it's mainly because of sunsetting locations and weapons, and just us losing a lot of content. And to be honest, Beyond Light didn't really introduce that many more weapons and armor. And again, I don't really blame Bungie at the moment, just because I know a lot of time and resources went into Stasis. And to be honest, I am fine with that. I am making this before I even touch Season of the Hunt. So, hold up. Okay. Let's not listen to the death singers. Anyways. What was I saying? Stasis. Yeah. So a lot of time went into that. I haven't played Season of the Hunt yet. I'm assuming there's a lot more armor and weapons there. Probably not enough to appease everyone. I don't think that's going to be the case ever. But as time moves on, they're going to keep introducing weapons and armor. It's not like Bungie is going to give up on that. They know that they need to make that stuff. I just think a lot of their focus was on the subclass, on exotics, and just the location in general. But now they have a full year to be giving us all these different weapons and archetypes and abilities and whatnot. So I'm for sunsetting. I love the fact that we can get this opportunity to change up our loadouts and our grinding goals, right? But if you want more in-depth stuff, go check out their videos and whatnot. They're much more analytical about that. That's just my opinion. I just wanted to share that. The loot grind and farming. The grind seems to be a bit better. There's many more opportunities to get exotics, focus exotics, in the lost sectors, no doubt, but I feel like powering up is about the same, and it kind of favors those who are playing activities such as the Gambit, Crucible, and Strike playlists, versus those who just had a ton of tokens and were just hoarding materials and they could just stand in the tower and power up quickly. It definitely favors those who actually play the game. So, and of course there's like strategies and tips and whatnot, but a lot of people like Rick Cactus and stuff have made plenty of guides as to how to do that. My last thoughts and impressions on Beyond Light alone. Like I said, I haven't even touched Season of the Hunt. My last thoughts and impressions on Beyond Light. I love it. I think it's the best expansion Bungie has ever put out. I know a lot of people complain about the price. A lot of people are upset about that and the lack of content and whatnot. But all in all, I think it's a great expansion. They hit the nail on story. Europa is beautiful. It has that old Mars vibe from D1, but yet it's just full of secrets and lore, and the weather dynamics is just amazing. I remember playing once and my sparrow was just drifting. I'm like, why am I drifting? I realized I'm in the middle of a blizzard. My sparrow's gonna get blown off the edge of the cliff if I didn't move. Stasis is fantastic. Some of the new weapons coming out are so beautifully designed and just, I don't know, it's like intellectually genius, some of the perks they have. Yeah, I'm very happy with it. I know a lot of people aren't, but I'm happy with it. I'm excited to see what this new year brings. Bungie's definitely learning and improving as time goes on. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. Let me know what your opinions are. I'm not here to have long debates with anyone, and your opinion's yours, mine's mine. So like with all video games, you don't like it, don't buy it. But I will definitely be sticking with Destiny for the next few years. And until then, I will see you all next time.